Parents squirm and sweat as they yearn for just one more squeeze and kiss on the cheek, everyone holding on tightly to donation-filled bags with fear and excitement of the unknown. We traveled up the escalator on the early summer morning, maneuvered through security, and proudly presented our little blue passports. Traveling to a foreign country with 30 high school kids may be nothing short of a miracle, but the real miracle was yet to come. Our imaginations ran wild when we began to imagine all the things this trip might hold for us. We had plans to visit orphanages, churches, and feeding centers to spread the gospel and educate about personal hygiene and nutrition. Our team did this through creative skits and songs. Leading up to our trip, we had weekly meetings to prepare for what we were about to experience, but I could have never expected what would happen. The minute I got off the plane, I fell in love with the country. On the late-night bus trip to the orphanage where we would stay, my head hung out the window the entire time, as I took in the heartbreaking scenery that I'd only ever seen in pictures. Nicaragua is a country with immense beauty, devastated by tragedy and poverty. The warm, smoggy air made my body tingle as this dream of mine was coming true. I was finally in Nicaragua. Tomorrow we would visit Nueva Vida, a slum. Nueva Vida means new life. Many people were relocated here after the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Mitch in 1998. It was 11:45 a.m. Herds of children were making their way down the dusty streets of Nueva Vida, Nicaragua, and my team had just arrived on the bus. Many of the children were barefoot, with bowls and spoons in hand, shepherding younger siblings to the local feeding center to receive their only meal of the day. In the midst of all this chaos, there I was. It was my first time in Nicaragua, and I was in for a major culture shock. Poverty surrounded me. It was mealtime when we pulled up at a small blue cement building with a tin roof overhang that Pastor Guillermo and his community called their church. Once a day, half a dozen women cook up a large meal of nutrient-fortified rice and soy they receive from aid organizations for over 100 children in the community. This feeding initiative is new and much needed as malnutrition conquered this slum. The picnic tables quickly filled up with children of all ages as they sat patiently with their bowls and spoons. Half of our team helped in the church kitchen, gathering up trays to begin distributing food. The other half of our team mingled with the children. "Gringo," they shout, meaning white foreigner, while tugging on our hair and teaching us Spanish songs. Before I could find a child to play tag with, put on my shoulders, or speak to in my broken Spanish, a child found me. Melody was her name. This tiny ball of energy grabbed my hand faster than I could scream, "Hola!" and dragged me to dance with her. I looked down at Melody's hand holding mine and noticed how thin her wrists were. Melody was 7 years old at the time, and her wrist was no bigger around than a quarter. That malnourished child with scrawny arms and legs and a heart of gold forever ingrained a place in my heart that week. Before I said goodbye, I slid a purple bracelet on that wrist of hers and said, "Amigos por siempre," or "Friends forever," which was my promise to her that I would be back. I was fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to travel back to the country I loved so much many times after that. It was all the same as the years before when we'd said our farewells. However, this time I was returning to known faces, real people, and treasured relationships that I had built in the years past. We got to Nueva Vida, and right when I stepped off the bus, I felt a child's arms wrap around me. It was Melody. The weak child that I had met a year before had grown into a beautiful, strong, healthy little girl that was even more energetic than I had remembered. We have a phrase in Nicaragua which states, "Nica always wins." This is a phrase to explain the funny smells, unexpected changes in schedules, or simply the unknown. Although I have not been able to visit Nueva Vida for a few years now, I still often think of Melody and the impact she had on me. Her joy for life and happiness with what little she had made me realize my ways. I receive updates from friends who travel there, and she has continued to grow into a beautiful little girl. Who knew a poor little girl from the slums of Nicaragua would go on to make one of the biggest impacts on my life? Nica always wins.
Hola, Ryan, le amo mucho.